Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Warning: this video will contain spoilers for the 1998 movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. This may include explicit descriptions of drug use, violence, and sexual situations. You have been warned. Watching past this point is a choice you have made. Thank you, and please have a nice day.
Hello and welcome to this video. Today we are going to be discussing Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I know the spoiler alert at the beginning said something about the movie, but we're also going to go into the novel and kind of veer off into Dr. Thompson's real life. Hunter S. Thompson, I don't know if it was a conscious decision on his part or a subconscious decision on his part, but a lot of his fiction and nonfiction weave in and out of fiction and nonfiction quite regularly. And it's really hard to tell where the story ends, real life begins, real life ends, and the story begins. It's just the kind of storyteller Thompson was. A lot of his stuff that one would think would be far out and crazy, turns out, if you do the research, is rather norm for him. There's an account in his book, Kingdom of Fear, in which he talks about him and his wife at the time driving to do a report on the forest fires in Colorado. And it's kind of okay, but you dig into that story, what he left out is kind of provocative, I guess, but in this grand scheme of Hunter S. Thompson, it seems like that may have been an editor choice and not a Thompson choice. But I'm not going to spoil it for you because it's really interesting and gives you something to do on the internet to research it. But and if you read any of his nonfiction, say Rum Diaries, Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail, Kingdom of Fear, you'll find out that a lot of what Thompson is trying to pass off as normal is made up because it is so tame in comparison to what his real life was like. It reminds me of an exchange in the very last episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. The characters of Garrick and Bashir are talking. And Bashir asked him a question along the lines of, what parts of your life are true? And Garrick's response is, all of it. And Bashir's response to that is, even the lies? Garrick gets this great big smile on his face, and he's like, especially the lies. And that kind of, to me, encompasses Thompson's life, because it's the things that you would think were normal and everyday that we go, oh, okay, that's plausible and could be totally made up, and the wild, crazy hijinks stuff is just another day in the park for Thompson. And the reason why I give that whole explanation is going into Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is the fact that it is based on an actual assignment that Thompson had as a sports writer. I believe it was for Sports Illustrated to go and cover the motocross in Vegas. And after he did that with somewhat success, I think it was Rolling Stone hired him to do a thing on the police big drug convention type thing, which are in the movie and in the novel. Like I said, the parts of it that you would think were crazy, like the whole this is backcountry, the picking up of the hitchhiker, which in the movie is played by Tobey Maguire very, very well. This whole setup is very plausible. The way it opens, the way the book and the movie opens is it was just outside of Barstow, that famous line. That is a very, everyone could relate to that. I mean, that's just a very poetic light. Like, I woke up and it was just getting dawn, or I went to bed as the sun was coming up. Things like that. That's just that whole setup. And the part where he's like, I remember saying something like, I'm feeling lightheaded, you need to try, that is very, very way we think. That's the way we are. When we're telling stories to our friends, that's the way we are. So that's kind of hard to separate out. What is reality? What is based on reality? What is reality? What is totally made up? And the character of Dr. Gonzo is based on his friend, attorney, enemy, best buddy, and all around just, they had a really, really weird relationship, and that is a documentary of its own. But Dr. Gonzo is based on an attorney named Oscar Zeta Acosta, or Zeta Acosta, depending on how you pronounce Z-E-T-A. In America, we tend to pronounce it Zeta. And I know I've heard people across the pond in England pronounce it Zeta. So it's however. He's assumed dead. He kind of just up and disappeared one day during running cocaine. From everything I've read and seen about the Oscar Zeta Acosta, he was one hell of a civil rights attorney, LULAC and all that stuff. Fought for the rights of migrant workers, And according to law enforcement, he was also running cocaine and other drugs up out of Mexico and South America, and supposedly that's what led to his demise. As paranoid and as propaganda filled as the federal law enforcement agencies are and were back then, that could be true. It could not be true. He could have been hit by the government for all we know. I don't have a theory one way or another, because either way you go, you lead into conspiracy territory, and until somebody finds his remains or whatever and can verify it, for me it's really not worth going into. But Acosta did accompany Thompson to Vegas, and now, to the extent of the drug use, the extent of the hijinks in real life, I am of the opinion that it was scaled way, way, way down for the book and the movie, especially the movie. The Acosta character, it's not outright said in the book nor the movie, but the Christine Ritchie's character, let me look at, I can't remember her character's name real quick. Let me look that up real quick. Christina Ritchie's character. Let's see. She's obsessed with Barbra Streisand. Really? I hate it when this does not go as planned. And she was shacked up in a hotel room with Dr. Gonzo, and there is, and this is bothering me now. This is really bothering me that there it is. Christina Ricci. Lucy was the name of her character. In the book, it is heavily implied. In the movie, they kind of imply it without implying it. It's one of those ones, if you read the book, the symbolism and stuff really hits hard. But it is alluded to strongly that Acosta, or Dr. Gonzo in the fictitious book, had consented sex with a minor. And by today's laws, and probably the laws back then, I'm not real sure, but definitely by today's laws, getting somebody intoxicating, they cannot consent to sex. And the fact that Lucy is a minor, I think in the book she's 14, 15. In the movie they portray her like 16, 17. They age her up. Yeah, there is that side of things. Now, like I said, with Thompson, that's hard. It could be that Acosta never had sex with her, but the impression that an intoxicated Hunter S. Thompson had, there's no telling. like I said, it's a coin flip. A lot of the stuff, whether or not it happened or if there's a parallel to it in real life, is a coin flip, a flip coin, a coin flip. The lizard people turning into lizards and stuff. In my youth, my experiences with psilocybin, and the one time that I've ever done LSD, I never had that particular reaction or particular hallucinations, but I've had some weird ass hallucinations. I would put that in the very plausible column. The fact that Thompson always was real assured, actually always made sure, not assured, he always made sure to have a fairly good lawyer, if not one of the best lawyers, on call because of his exploits. Like I said, there's a lot of drug use. Now, whether or not it was as low or as mitigated as it is in the movie, or if it was much lower in real life, because he actually had to write articles to get paid. And it was the craziness of it that makes you wonder, especially that time in American history. There's a lot of really weird shit going on. The whole peace movement, we're coming out of the 60s. Thompson considered the 60s the counterculture movement a failure because pretty much everyone sold out, and look what we got now running the country, a bunch of sold out baby boomers. So like I said, it's it's kind of, you gotta kind of pick and choose. I guess it's kind of like a pick and choose your own, what you want to believe and what you don't want to believe. It's kind of like a legacy franchise like Alien or Star Wars or Star Trek or something like that. You got to kind of, Hunter S. Thompson's books in his life are kind of like that. You just got to kind of pick your own personal headcanon, or use the old adage, everything's canon till it's not. So yeah, but the one thing that's in the movie that is not in the book is the whole Gary Busey cop scene between him and the fictional the character that is a stand-in for Thompson, Raoul Duke. That never happened. That's not in the novel. That was just something the director Terry Gilliam come up with, and evidently Thompson, I've read things where Thompson loved it, and I've read things where Thompson hated it. It was left in the movie, and Thompson did a cameo in the movie, so I'm falling on the side that Thompson kind of liked it and kind of maybe wished he would have thought of it. But that whole cop scene with Gary Busey and Johnny Depp is hilarious, but it's not a novel. Though I have to admit, even into the early 90s, because I had this happen to a friend of mine. He got pulled over, DWI. Cop, I mean, it was the middle of November, December. The cop took the guy's keys and threw them out in the middle of a field. And it's 11 o'clock at night. I get a phone call, explained what happened. So I'm out in a field with a flashlight with a friend of mine, hoping we don't get popped for trespassing, looking for his car keys while he sobers up. So yeah, whole different approach to things back then. Like I said, even into the early 90s. So yeah, would I recommend this movie? Oh, definitely. I'd recommend the movie in a heartbeat to anybody. Now, would I recommend the novel? If you're strong enough. Hunter S. Thompson hides nothing. He wears everything out on his sleeve. And the problem I had was I read this book at a very, very impressionable age and went, fuck, it didn't hurt him any. And it helped form a lot of my adolescence and early adulthood. So, yeah, if you're strong enough, you can read the book. But the movie is most definitely something I'd recommend to people. So, until next time, be a good human, be good to other humans, and peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?